Have you ever seen pictures of great servers and wondered why the heck their racket looks like this shortly after contact? The side with which they just hit the ball into this direction points into a completely different direction. It looks nonsensical, and that's exactly the reason why especially newer players have a really hard time grasping that concept and executing that movement. And I've recently had a ton of requests to go more in depth about this movement, why you need it, and how you actually work on the pronation, because that's what it's called. Let's get going. This weird racket position happens because great servers do two things really well. Number one, they're rotating their shoulder internally, and they're also pronating their forearm. And the two of those things combined is called the long axis rotation. Let me show you without the big fancy words to demonstrate what I mean. If you have the right grip, obviously on the serve, you're wanting to reach up. So you're using your shoulder here to internally rotate, and you're extending your arm up. But if you were to not move the racket position at all, you would be hitting the ball with the edge of the racket, with the frame. And obviously we have this piece of equipment here that has strings. We want to line up the strings to the ball. Coming from this position and now trying to square up the racket above your head, you have to manipulate the racket head, of course, and you do that by turning your entire forearm, because your wrist itself does not perform that movement. Your wrist does not rotate. It is not a joint that rotates. You can flex your wrist, meaning the palm points down. You can extend, bending the wrist away towards your arm. You can have radial deviation, meaning you turn the wrist towards the thumb. Or you can have ulnar deviation, meaning the pinky leads. And you can have supination and pronation. Pronation is the one that we need. And out of this neutral position, turning your entire forearm down so that the palm faces down, that is pronation. And of course the opposite would be supination. You're turning the back of the hand towards the ground. If we do this here with the racket now from this position, obviously chest high, this is my pronation. And if I stay chest high here, you now see again, if I'm not changing the grip, which of course we're not, if I'm just doing this, I'm leading with the edge of the racket, which is exactly what you want to do, only again that I would hit it with the frame. So I now turn my thumb out. And you see now that my racket head is squared up to the ball. Trying to integrate a new movement into what already is an incredibly difficult to perform sequence of movements. I'm going to break it down into really small steps and small exercises that altogether will help you master the pronation. But all of this only works if you have the right grip. So let's go over how to find the continental grip one more time. Use your non-dominant hand and just hold the racket like so, edge facing to you. Now make a V and slide down on the edge of the racket. It should look like something like this. And if you're looking down on it, this is what it should like from your perspective. First drill. Kids really like this one, so I included it. Find your proper grip, stand next to the ball here, and you don't want to hit the ball with the edge of the racket. You want to hit it with the full side of the frame. So what you're doing there is square it up with the pronation. And just simply walk down the line. And do it slowly. And really look how your arm is working. And you'll notice that you start from this neutral position and you're turning down your palm. There's your pronation. And with all the drills, and of course then when you're serving, you want to have a fairly relaxed arm. And of course hand, because you want to allow all the joints to work in exactly the way that they were created to work. The next one is the bump down. So we're working our way basically up from the ground all the way to overheads here. And what you're doing is you're just starting basically as if you wanted to chop down. which is what you would do right here, just with the edge of the racket, if you didn't pronate. So now from this chopping motion, you just bump the ball down. And I would suggest that you do that rather slowly, because you really do not want to bump that ball right into your snoot. Once you get the slower version under control, you can pick up the pace a little bit. Start a little higher, still in an abbreviated motion. And you now see, when you just leave your arm completely relaxed, see where my racket face is facing? We're getting to what we saw in the picture. Next drill, we're completely overhead. You've seen me do this in many videos before, but I do it again because it's such a helpful drill. Choke up on the racket, start in an abbreviated motion, just like this here. Do it slowly without a ball for now, and look up and really see what it feels like to lead with the edge of the racket, and then how much you have to turn, pronate, to make contact. And then go ahead, super gentle, super slow. Toss the ball up and pronate. And again, you do see, without having to force this, if again your arm is relaxed enough, the racket face will look to the outside. If you're now swinging all the way through, as a right-hander, you would finish across your left hip with the butt cap pointing over to your opponent. And then lastly, slowly go back to the baseline, full grip. And again, just experiment with it. You don't really have to force this a whole lot. I'm not really doing this here. I'm just letting my joints work the way that they want to. The progression that I used here is actually what I used to do after coming back from injury to get my shoulder, my arm, my wrist, everything used to, again, to working properly. So that's a great way to use these progressions in addition to learning the pronation. Or you can also just use them as warm-up, so that you're not going out there bombing serves with a cold shoulder. This video actually was a request a lot of players had to go more into detail about the pronation. If you have any suggestions, any issues that you want to work on, let me know down in the comments what some things are that I should cover in my next videos.